The opening of Myopia by Gardiner. Here comes Four Eyes. What? That specky git in our technology group? Yeah. Oi, goggles. Where'd you get the space visors from? NASA? Cruel sniggering filled the corridor. And as Jerry looked up, his glasses slipped down his nose. So all he could see was a fuzzy mix of shapes and colours. He wrinkled his nose to lift his glasses back into his sightline. Then he remembered that made him look haughty. So he prodded the central frame with his forefinger to slide the glasses back up his nose. Now he made out a double line of pupils, mostly from his year, making a tunnel leading to the outside door to the field. It looked like the rows guests make when a newly married couple leave their wedding reception. Only Jerry didn't think there'd be as much jollity or kissing. This gang, made up of boys and girls, often stood there, threatening younger pupils who made the mistake of walking past. Jerry knew he should be worried. Oi, you four-eyed freak. One of the boys grabbed his blazer, and Jerry let himself go limp. He'd been in this situation before. I'm talking to you, dickhead. Jerry knew the speaker only too well. Wayno. Their noses almost touched, and Wayno's breath reeked, and Jerry guessed that brushing teeth was not a priority for him. He wanted to walk away, but Wayno held on too tight. Where were the bloody teachers when you wanted them? Always there when you don't need them. Wayno suddenly let go, but Jerry felt himself tugged backwards until he stumbled into the corner under the staircase, surrounded by half a dozen boys and a few girls. And he was now being manhandled by a different boy known as Rhino, Wayno's bodyguard. On the way to the library, are you? Boff. Now, the library was actually in the opposite direction, but Jerry guessed this wasn't a time to be pedantic. Are you going to answer? Or what? Rhino spat as he spoke. A fleck of saliva landed on Jerry's cheek. His eyes flicked quickly between the frames of his focal range. And as he began sweating, he felt his glasses slip back down his nose. Too scared to push them back, he maintained his silence, glad the marauding bullies stood before him in a blur. Before he knew it, a hand appeared before his face, hovering at Jerry's eye level, tilted with fingers pointing towards him. And then suddenly, some fingernails clicked against the lenses of Jerry's glasses. Pretty useful in a fight, these visors, said Wayno. I can't poke your eyes out, so I'll just have to rip your whole bloody head off. Many responses flashed through Jerry's mind, but he sensibly kept his mouth shut. It meant his tormentors assumed him stupid or easy prey. But saying the words out loud would only earn him a visit to intensive care. Suddenly, his whole world fuzzed into a kaleidoscope of blurs as Wayno removed his glasses, leaving Jerry standing in a lonely world of short-sightedness. He could no longer see the bullies at all, not even sure of his own location in the school, because he'd lost all visual markers, normally putting things into context. The crowd around him became an unidentifiable blob. Weird creatures continually contorting and ebbing and flowing. It was impossible to see where one of them began and the other ended, and they all just merged into an insignificant mass of blobbiness. Jerry imagined them as one giant monster made of snot. It made him smile. Although he couldn't focus on faces, he became aware of movements. Voices murmured, overlapped and buzzed, but Jerry chose not to listen, preferring his own thoughts as he blocked out the world around him. Where the hell were those stupid teachers? Jerry hoped silence would bore the bullies into giving up. And although the theory sounded good, it never really worked in practice. Responding didn't work. It just made him more determined to hurt you. Ignoring didn't work either. Jerry had already learned that bullies were angry individuals who couldn't be reasoned with. Whatever he did, it would be wrong. So doing nothing and conserving his energy and sanity appeared the best policy. What they did to his glasses concerned him most. Please, don't break them, he pleaded silently. He didn't have a spare pair. You're a sad little swat, ain't ya? Wayno's voice rudely interrupted Jerry's thoughts. Not really, thought Jerry. He was mainly in middle groups and he didn't do any more work than most. Just because he didn't hang around with Wayno's gang and do what he said, they had to find some stereotype to label him with. What a little mummy's boy. Wayno then slapped Jerry on both cheeks. As Wayno's face got closer, Jerry realised his tormentor was wearing his glasses. God, your eyes are bad. Oh, you could do welding in these. The inane giggling from the others encouraged their leader, who started to perform to his audience. God, these speckies are thicker than magnifying glasses. Another round of titters and sniggers, and Wayno's voice became aggressive. Say after me, Four Eyes. I'm a little saddo. Ain't difficult. Jerry stuck to his silence and he hung on for dear life. It'd all be over soon. Surely the bell would go any minute now. Jerry guessed Wayno would hate losing face in front of his cronies. Wayno, snorting and still wearing Jerry's glasses, leaned right in. And their noses touched again. You're bloody dead, mate. Did you hear? Wayno then head-butted Jerry. And then he ripped off the glasses and he punched Jerry right in the stomach. Jerry wanted to fall over, but Wayno's mates held him up. Debag him, Wayno ordered with a gesture, before striding away like some mafia don, content for others to do his dirty work. Jerry felt his trousers and his underpants being whipped down to his feet while his hands were held. Screams of laughter erupted in the corridors, echoing up the stairwell. And by the sound of it, quite a crowd gathered to witness his humiliation. Eventually his arms were freed, allowing him to double over and collapse. And Jerry managed to pull his trousers back up swiftly and do up his button and his zip before attending to his aching head and his burning midriff. With his head throbbing, he got on all fours and he scrabbled about for his glasses. He patted the filthy floor in all directions. The corner had been quickly vacated by the crowd, and Jerry patiently swept both hands to and fro with no luck. Still not having found them when the bell rang, Jerry cursed his short-sightedness.